Shalom Aleichem Chaverim v'Yedidim. This week's Haftarah, actually there are different minhagim, where to start, where to finish, between the Ashkenazim and the Sephardim. Actually Chabad has its own custom, where to finish Haftarah. But I want to quote one or two psukim from this week's Haftarah, B'kitzer, and see what kind of Irah we can learn from this. The Haftarah again talks about how the love the Eibishter has to Klal Yisrael, and the turbulence throughout the times. Not always the Yidden follow the words of the Torah, v'chul, and eventually everything turns around. But there's a pasuk, the pasuk says, Achrei Hashem yelechu ka'aryeh yishog, that the Yidden eventually will follow the ways of Hashem, just like when a lion roars. After a lion roaring, Ki hu yishag v'yechredu banim b'yom, he will roar, and when you hear the sound of the roaring, then yechredu banim miyam, the children will stir, will come running miyam. All right, it's one pasuk. We'll soon see what that means. And then the pasuk continues. Not enough the example of coming running after hearing the roaring of a lion. The pasuk says yechredu ketzipor mimitzrayim, they'll come with fear, running like a bird from Mitzrayim. Uchiyoyna me Eretz Asher, and like a dove coming from Eretz Asher. Now we see three different descriptions here. There's a lion, there's a dove, there's a bird. What the significance of all this is. So we'll start with the bird, the last ones first. The bird, so the Mefarshim say what's unique about a bird, some of these birds, they always remember that where their nest is. They could fly miles and miles away, but they always remember where their homegrown place is, and they eventually return back to it. And this is what we are asking, what we are hoping, that every Yid, no matter how far he's drifted, always remembers where his base is from, and he comes back. But what is the Achrei Hashem Yelechu Ka'aryeh Yishog, like a roaring lion? So one of the Mefarshim say that even though Banim Miyam means the Eibishter, the roaring will bring back people miyam. Miyam means from west, but yam also means from the sea. And we find that a lion, he's the king of the castle. He's the king of the world, of the animals, and every animal is afraid of him. But that's only the creatures and the animals that are on dry land. The fish have no fear from a lion. Over here, this roaring of this lion will even instill fear, even for those creatures. Everything in the world will get frightened from this fear of a lion. Now, what lion are we referring to, and what is the job? What is the lion doing here in the contents of this navi? So the simple pshat is that a time will come, the Eibishter Hashem will make such a sound, such a loud call for the Jews to return, that just like when a lion roars, it's a sign of a signal for that his babies or all the animals that he wants to come towards him. So the Eibishter will make such a roar, such sound to call us back. The time has come, Yidden come back. And however far you've fallen, now you see, even as deep as in the Yam, you're being called back. The Ibn Ezra says that it's actually not referring to the sound of the lion to calling the Yidden back. It's actually scaring, frightening the nations who have fought the Yidden. So throughout in the Dinei Tshuva, a lot of times we speak about how when Aryeh Shag Mila Yira, when the lion roars, who doesn't get afraid? And that's Aryeh is Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We always talk about the roar of a lion instills fear for Tshuva. But perhaps there's another benefit of thinking about the roar of a lion, and maybe it's a more positive thing, not necessarily fear. The Tzemach Tzedek Mitzayin quotes two medrashim, one in Parshas Yisroi and one in Parshas Nasoi, where we can learn of the fear or the roaring of a lion, what it did to us. So it says, the Medrash says that when the Eibishter was about to give us the Torah, and the Torah, the Medrash says the world was in a status of mismaited. The world was about to crumble. It had no life. It had no zest to it. So the Eibishter says, I got to come and give them life. So he's going to give them Torah. So Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah. So the Rabbi Yirmiyah says, that when the Eibishter was giving us the Torah, the world was full of fear. Because yes, it's instilling life. But what is going to be down the line when we don't keep Chas v'Shalom the Torah? So should we take it and analyze it as it's happening now? We got our booster of energy. But what are we taking upon ourselves, something which is way above our head? And the Gemara says, and the Medrash goes on saying, Amar Rab Simon said, Mashal Lamelech, you could compare this to a king that walks into his palace. As he's walking to his palace, the matrona, the queen, hears the almighty king walking in, so she stands up right away and gives him a seat. And the Medrash says she was afraid. So the Medrash says, if the queen is afraid for the space that the king needs or wants, and she crumbles towards him, what do you think the maidservants and the slaves in the building, what do they feel like? So when the Eibishter came to give the Torah, we also heard this roaring sound, Shamu Kailis Vamesu, and it made us full of fear. And Ahmad al-Sam, the Eden passed out. Can't we handle this? This is way too much. And the Eibishter had to do Tchias Mesim. So here again we see how the sounds and the roaring is a sound of fear. But then in Parshas Nasai, the Medrash says, quotes this our Navi about the roaring of the lion, and it says, Achrei Hashem yelechu ka'aryeh shag. So the Medrash says, why was Daniel saved in the Goy V'Arayos? The king threw Daniel into a lion's den, and Daniel made it through. And the Medrash says different things that he did right, why he was saved. One of the things he says is Yavoy Aryeh, V'yatzil Aryeh mipi Aryeh. Daniel, who's compared to a lion, because Daniel comes from Shevet Yehuda, which Shevet Yehuda was blessed as the power of a lion. Yavoy Aryeh, Daniel, who's like a lion, should come and save Aryeh from that mouth of an Aryeh. And each one is referring to the Eibishter's Aryeh, as we say, Achrei Hashem Yeilchu Ka'aryeh, the physical lion, and Daniel the lion. But this is the one I want to stress. Davar Achar, another shot, how was Daniel saved from the lion's den? Because when the lions came circled around him, they appeared to them that he is a lion. He stood there, he had an appearance of a lion. So because he had an appearance of a lion, therefore they didn't harm him. And perhaps this is the lesson in this week's Haftarah. Stand firm, create an image of a lion, as the first halacha in Shulchan Aruch says. Az Gibber Kari, wake up in the morning like a lion. Do Avodas Hashem like a lion. And when you do that, you won't be harmed with anything.